Hey, Commanders fans, get ready because today we've got exclusive news about our team, and you don't want to miss a thing. So, subscribe to the channel, activate the bell to be the first to hear everything, and of course, leave a like to strengthen our support and show that we're all true fans. We're committed to bringing you the latest updates, news, and everything that goes on behind the scenes at the Commanders. So, without further ado, let's check out today's news. Where are things between the Commanders and Terry McLaurin now? Where are things currently between the Washington Commanders and wide receiver Terry McLaurin? 2 weeks before the 2025 season opener, McLaurin hasn't practiced yet, as he hasn't yet received a new contract extension. McLaurin's asking price would have been much higher than Washington or any other NFL team would be comfortable paying for a receiver about to turn 30. While we don't know the numbers each side presented, we do know they've been at a significant difference and that things have been ugly. Could negotiations be at a better point now than they were a week ago? Well, for starters, they couldn't be worse. Sports Illustrated's Albert Breer recently visited the Commanders' training camp and made 5 observations. One of them focused on McLaurin. Breer wrote the following about McLaurin. Regarding McLaurin, I think the negotiations are in a better place than before, but the parties started off quite far apart, so there was a lot to catch up on. Perhaps the deadlines in the coming weeks will help close a deal. Remember, this isn't a report. It's more of a hunch, but Breer heard something from someone. Was it McLaurin's side or Washington's side? After missing Monday's game against the Bengals, McLaurin was present for Saturday's preseason finale, but he didn't look happy. Eric Flack of USA 9 in Washington, D.C., shared the following video of McLaurin sitting alone on the bench, wearing a hoodie. It's important to note that this is just a snippet of a 3-hour game. However, Flack noted that McLaurin spent most of Saturday's game this way. Flack also said McLaurin spoke with linebacker Bobby Wagner, and NBC Washington's J.P. Finley snapped this photo of McLaurin interacting with his teammates before the game. No matter where you are, body language is bad. It doesn't look good. Back to the Breer story. Maybe there's been some recent progress between the two sides, and McLaurin was advised by his agent to look unhappy until things are resolved. Who knows? This situation has been going on for far too long, and McLaurin's team should realize that Washington general manager Adam Peters isn't messing around. Brian Robinson Jr.'s role with the 49ers revealed after trade with the Commanders. The Washington Commanders are beginning to define their 53-man roster for the 2025 season. One player who ultimately didn't make the team's plans was running back Brian Robinson Jr., who was traded to the San Francisco 49ers last week. With Austin Ekeler, Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, Jeremy McNichols, and Chris Rodriguez Jr., also in Washington's running backs room, Robinson has become expendable for the only team he's played for in the NFL. However, one team's trash is another's treasure, and after acquiring him in this trade, San Francisco coach Kyle Shanahan revealed how he plans to use Robinson. How will the 49ers use Brian Robinson Jr. after the trade with the Commanders? Robinson was selected by the Commanders in the 3rd round of the 2022 NFL Draft, but his professional debut was delayed after being shot in the knee and buttocks in an armed robbery shortly before the start of his rookie season. Robinson would make a triumphant return in Week 5 and eventually cement himself as the team's starting running back. Despite earning that title, Robinson's position atop Washington's running backs list never felt quite secure. Ekeler, McNichols, and Rodriguez all contributed to their backfields last season, and Jayden Daniels immediately established himself as one of the league's most mobile quarterbacks. With Robinson expected to need a new contract after the 2025 season, this was a deal the Commanders decided they didn't want to pay. With the 49ers looking for depth at running back, they jumped the gun and signed Robinson from Washington. However, they already had a superstar running back in Christian McCaffrey, so some were confused by the move. When asked about Robinson's role, Shanahan made it clear what the team expects from him. "We brought him here to be our second back," Shanahan said when asked by reporters. "I've always been a big fan of Brian. I loved him coming out of college. He played really well against him, and we were excited he was available, and we were excited we were able to sign him. Commanders expected to hire running backs after Brian Robinson Jr. trade. In 2024, Robinson accumulated 799 yards and 8 touchdowns on 187 carries, so the Commanders will have some production to fill in the backfield. However, as mentioned above, they have a number of players who can help them fill the void. Ekeler will remain the team's running back, while Krosky Merritt, McNichols, and Rodriguez will likely share the rest of the duties at the start of the season. With Daniels also contributing on the ground, this should help create space for whoever ends up carrying the ball. Robinson's departure certainly leaves a hole in Washington's running back core. But if all goes according to plan, they won't miss a beat on offense in 2025. Commanders embroiled in preseason turmoil surrounding potential breakout star. The mystery continues. The mystery surrounding Washington Commanders wide receiver Luke McCaffrey continues to confound fans after another up-and-down preseason. He likely did enough to make the 53-man roster, but what comes next remains unclear. McCaffrey was used sparingly by the Commanders last season. The third-round pick saw plenty of play, but very few targets. Adam Peters wasn't going to wait for developments this offseason, trading for Deebo Samuel Sr. and drafting Jalen Lane to bolster Washington's wide receiver options. This wasn't exactly a glowing vote of confidence in McCaffrey. While he did shine at times this summer, fans are beginning to wonder if he'll ever carve out a significant role in Washington. The Commanders are no closer to solving the Luke McCaffrey puzzle after an up-and-down preseason. The Commanders tested McCaffrey in their final preseason game against the Baltimore Ravens. He caught all 5 of his targets, totaling 23 yards, but the second-year pro failed to generate much after the catch and appeared somewhat lacking in confidence. There was also no sign of McCaffrey in the return game, where his influence was much more felt as a rookie. And the fact that he was deployed as a special teams blocker late in Washington's final warm-up game wasn't exactly encouraging either. It's highly unlikely the Commanders will give up on McCaffrey this early in his NFL journey. Peters did just that with safety-turned linebacker Dominique Hampton, but he never seemed capable of reaching the required standard. The wide receiver is only entering his 4th year at the position after transitioning from quarterback in college, so this was always going to be a gradual process. The Commanders have no time to waste. Terry McLaurin, pending contract, Samuel, and Noah Brown are firmly entrenched as the starting trio. Lane could be the 4th option at the moment, especially considering he was rested along with almost all the other starters against the Ravens. No one knows where this leaves McCaffrey, but it increases the urgency for exponential improvement in the coming months. Washington holds McCaffrey in high regard. He comes from a rich NFL pedigree and is one of the hardest workers, but until he sees real production on the field, there will always be a sense of doubt.